A search warrant is underway at multiple locations in Los Angeles County. This includes a board supervisor's home and other offices.
Deputies from the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department searched LA County Supervisor Sheila Kuehl's home on Wednesday. They presented the warrant and led her outside. The Sheriff's Department served warrants in multiple locations related to an ongoing public corruption investigation. It includes the homes of Kuehl, as well as Patty Giggins, the Los Angeles County Civilian Oversight Commissioner and Executive Director of Peace Over Violence. Detectives also searched the Los Angeles County Hall of Administration, Peace Over Violence headquarters, and LA Metro headquarters. According to the affidavit, Sheriff Alex Villanueva has relinquished his authority as sheriff for this criminal investigation. Duties are assigned to the undersheriff. The investigation is ongoing.
A Twitter whistleblower testified before senators on Tuesday. He said that Twitter executives appeared unmoved when they were notified of allegations that a Chinese spy was working for the company. NTD's Jason Perry has the story.
What I discovered when I joined Twitter was that this enormously influential company was over a decade behind industry security standards.
Peter Zatko, also known as Mudge, is the former head of security at Twitter. He testified that many Twitter employees had unnecessary access to users' personal information.
And this kind of vulnerability is not in the abstract. It's not far-fetched to say that an employee inside the company could take over the accounts of all of the senators in this room.
Senator Chuck Grassley explained that it was more than just Twitter employees with such access.
Because of Mudge's disclosures, we've learned that personal data from Twitter users was potentially exposed to foreign intelligence agencies.
Senator Mike Lee wanted to know why Twitter hasn't done more to increase data security.
I think they would like to, but they're simply unwilling to put the effort in at the cost of other efforts, such as driving revenue. I'm reminded of one conversation with an executive when I said, I am confident that we have a foreign agent, and their response was, well, since we already have one, what does it matter if we have more? Let's keep growing the office.
NTD received the following reply from Twitter. Twitter's hiring process is independent of any foreign influence, and access to data is managed through background checks and other measures. The Delaware judge overseeing the Elon Musk versus Twitter case ruled last week that Musk can include new evidence related to Zatko's allegations in the trial, which is set to start October 17th. Jason Perry, NTD News.
Parents and leaders have raised concerns about ethnic studies in schools, saying they are racist and divisive. One former high school teacher shares why she quit teaching after raising her voice against the curriculum.
Calif is a former California high school teacher of 15 years. She explains to California Insider's Siamak Karami why she quit her job after speaking out against critical race theory and ethnic studies.
Is basically dividing our kids by color, by the color of their skin, and teaching them to look at everything through the lens of color rather than being a colorblind society.
Fontanilla says she first noticed critical race theory when she looked at a lesson plan she shared with another teacher. She explained that it became a 9th grade requirement after Governor Gavin Newsom signed it into law requiring high schoolers to take critical race theory to graduate in 2021. It could be taught explicitly or implicitly.
They taught the students how to analyze school policy through critical race theory. They also taught them the benefits of critical race theory. They taught them how colorblind society is not progressive anymore. So my students, my 9th grade students, actually learned the real critical race theory. But there's also now a push to hide critical race theory and just teach all of the core tenets of critical race theory.
She says the students were given a privilege quiz on day 5.
Well, a privilege quiz is basically asking the kids questions that are very carefully chosen and then ranking them by privilege against their classmates. And they were asked to reflect against their privilege if they were on the top or on the bottom against their classmates. So it's just already dividing our students. So to say that you're privileged because of these 10 questions we chose, that the left has chose as this is considered oppressed, is just so wrong. So we're putting this message into our kids that they're either oppressed or privileged at their most formative years of their life. And I think it's criminal.
She says there was also a slide on Marxism, presented in a positive way.
Their goal in this is, and this is also was part of the curriculum, was to decolonize America, to have a revolution. The goal of the class was, even in the first slide that the teacher gave the students, it said to be woke.
She explained that teachers were also taught concepts of critical race theory in college, so when they teach other students, it carries over. In addition, they will start noticing and pointing out elements of racism. Fontanilla suggested parents pull their kids from public schools so that schools will receive less funding, sending a message that parents do not like what their kids are being taught. She also cashed out her retirement to open her own online, fully accredited K-12 school.
To watch the full program, find California Insider on YouTube or Epic TV on the Epic Times website. Speaking of education, more than half of the students in the state's largest school district failed to meet standards in English and math. The superintendent says the pandemic lockdowns are to blame, but the solution may not come easily. According to data released by the Los Angeles Unified School District on Friday, more than half of students failed to meet state testing standards for the 2021-22 school year. 42% of students met or exceeded the state testing standard in English, while 28% met standards for mathematics. District officials blame the results on COVID-19 pandemic lockdowns. Superintendent Alberto Carvalho said, quote, "There is no substitute for in-person instruction." The district issued several plans to improve student education, such as adding 4 school days to help students who are still catching up on learning. But the United Teachers Union said they would boycott the district's first of 4 optional school days because these days were added to the school year without labor negotiations. For students who need help with their schoolwork, California now offers free online tutoring during all hours of the day. According to the governor's office, the tutors are familiar with state curriculum and standards.
Governor Gavin Newsom announced on Monday that every Californian can now get free online tutoring 24/7. It's part of $254 million to public libraries in 172 cities across 34 counties to renovate facilities. California's state library leads the Brainfuse Help Now pilot program, offering one-on-one tutoring in assistance in math, language arts, and other subjects in different languages. People can also get help with college subjects such as math, biology, history, among other subjects. It's a new initiative to help with homework in every K-12 subject and skill-building resources for adult learners, including citizenship resources. Newsom said, "Public libraries are the hearts of communities across the state and are hubs of learning, discovery, and oftentimes safety." Real-time homework help can be accessed on the Brainfuse website or any of the 1,130 local public libraries around the state. There's no age limit on who can request tutoring. This is the first round of the California State Library's $439 million rebuilding campaign for libraries. David Lamb, NTD News, California.
Many Californians are expecting inflation relief. It will come as a tax fund of $200 to nearly $1,000. It's based on income and number of dependents. Payments will arrive between October and January of next year. Here's a look.
The middle class tax refund is a one-time payment of up to $1,050 to provide financial relief to Californians. According to the California Franchise Tax Board, people that are eligible are those that make less than $250,000 in adjusted gross income, filed a 2020 tax return by October 15th last year, weren't able to be claimed as a dependent in the 2020 tax year, lived in California for over 6 months in 2020, and a resident when the payment is issued. Generally, for people who filed electronically and received a 2020 tax refund by direct deposit, they should get the payment the same way. Otherwise, taxpayers will receive their payment on a debit card. Individuals with a dependent could receive $400 to $700 or $200 to $350 without dependent. Those that are married or filed jointly with the dependent could receive $600 to $1,050. Those without a dependent will receive $400 to $700. More information or calculations for refunds can be found by searching for middle class tax refund on California's Franchise Tax Board website. David Lamb, NTD News, California.
Speaking of signing legislation, the governor has about half a month left to sign any bills sitting on his desk. So far, he signed 2 this week, one about homelessness and one about social media.
On Wednesday, Governor Gavin Newsom signed the Care Court legislation into law. The legislation stands for Community Assistance, Recovery, and Empowerment. Care Court is for residents and homeless people deemed to be struggling with substance abuse and mental illnesses. These people could receive court-ordered medical care and housing for up to 2 years. The bill could target up to 12,000 homeless individuals by its own estimate. The bill lacks voluntary treatment options, while the state struggles with housing options for homeless individuals without mental health issues. And on Tuesday, Newsom also signed a social media transparency bill into law. The bill requires companies to publicly post their policies regarding issues like hate speech and disinformation. They must also report data on their enforcement of the policies. Newsom said the measure is expected to bring transparency and accountability to policies on social media content.
The small beach city of El Segundo offers idyllic scenery along the Los Angeles coast, but residents and now city officials say there's a foul stench in the air ruining that feeling, and they say it's coming from a nearby water cleaning plant. NTD's Bill Thomas tells us more.
In a press release, El Segundo City Council says they've unanimously declared a local state of emergency due to the alleged emission of noxious gases and foul odors coming from the neighboring Hyperion water reclamation plant. El Segundo City Council also authorized the filing of a lawsuit against the City of Los Angeles, which operates the Hyperion plant, for their persistent failure to mitigate the plant's infestation of those gases and rancid odors. Residents and business of El Segundo have complained of odors since July 11, 2021, when the plant experienced a major sewage spill and flooding. El Segundo Mayor Drew Boyle said, quote, "It has been over a year since the initial sewer spill at the Hyperion plant. There have been 1,100 odor-related complaints from community members who report suffering from headaches and nausea from the smell." The mayor added that the problem has persisted despite the South Coast Air Quality Management District issuing 13 notices of violation and 3 abatement orders. Elena Stern, the Senior Public Information Director for the Department of Public Works, City of Los Angeles, told NTD News that the city cannot comment on pending or potential litigation. She added that LA Sanitation and Environment continues to be committed to ensuring the health and safety of our community and employees at Hyperion and takes very seriously concerns about odors. The Hyperion Water Reclamation Plant treats the wastewater of approximately 4 million people in the Los Angeles region, is managed by the Los Angeles City Sanitation Bureau, and borders the city of El Segundo. Bill Thomas, NTD News, Los Angeles.